Both sides of the aisle are mourning the loss of Senator John McCain this morning.
And Americans soon will be able to pay their respects in our nation's capital.
Chad Bergrum joins us live from Washington with the details. Chad?
Well, in a couple of days here, they're going to bring John McCain's body to the United States Capitol for him to lie in state. Now, he will be the 30th person to so be bestowed with this honor. Lying in state means that they put his casket on the catafalque. This is a fancy term for a wooden platform that they used for President Lincoln's funeral in 1865 in the middle of the Capitol Rotunda. No one has lied in state in the Capitol since Daniel Inouye, the late senator from Hawaii who died in December of 2012. There will be an honor guard that will stand around his casket around the clock, and members of the public, once they get through with the formal services, will file into the rotunda and be able to pay their final respects to John McCain. You know, in the final days of John McCain being here on Capitol Hill last fall, he had been getting some treatment, and some reporters, you know, kind of gaggled with him in the hallway, and he said something very pragmatic. He said, every life has to end somehow. He was very resigned if this was the fate that was in store for him, and he has not been on Capitol Hill since the 7th of December.
Chad, you have been reporting that Democratic leader in the Senate, Chuck Schumer, has come up with this idea to rename the Russell Senate Office Building, very famous structure in Washington, the very first Senate office building in history. Others have sprouted up. Rename it in honor of John McCain. I saw in the last 5 minutes Nancy Pelosi put out a statement saying she thinks it's a great idea. Should we see that at face value as a way to honor someone on a bipartisan basis, or is there something else going on here in that it would replace the name of Richard Russell, who, as you know, when he died in the 60s, was the most senior member of the Senate and was a Southern leader against the civil rights movement at a time of people taking down statues in the South and all of that, as we see a statue right there on the screen of Richard Russell. Do you think that might be at play here as well?
Well, we are in election season, and Democrats are concerned about getting out their base. That statue is directly below me, one level down here in the Russell Rotunda. This is the Russell Senate Office Building, so named after Richard Russell. John McCain's office is in this building, also the Armed Services Committee, which he chaired. And Richard Russell, was a giant. Say what people will say about his views on civil rights. He was kind of the de facto majority leader, in fact. There's a reason why this building is named for him, and that could be a big fight if they try to push that. We don't know what the political response would be, but Richard Russell, Lyndon Johnson became the Senate Majority Leader. The book by Robert Caro about Johnson is called Master of the Senate. And Lyndon Johnson kind of learned all of his Senate tricks from Richard Russell, because there had really been no one who had mastered the Senate until Johnson. And Johnson learned everything from Richard Russell. That's why that Russell, even though controversial, is such a towering figure. And I should point out that I can't think of any instance where there has been something, certainly, on the context of a Capitol building here, that has been renamed. And so that would be a big fight.
And the LBJ audio tapes, by the way, some of the most colorful conversations, as you know, Chad, are between Russell and LBJ, some not to be repeated.
Chad, I want to ask you, because you are our resident scholar up there in Capitol Hill. You did a great job last night, and thank you for joining us today. But what will the folks in those halls of the Senate most miss about John McCain, do you think?
I think they'll miss his frankness. They'll miss him kind of sparring back and forth, but they'll also kind of miss his compassion. I remember a key moment last summer when they were trying to get together on the bill to repeal and replace Obamacare, and there was a late night meeting in the Dirksen Senate Office Building, which is the next building over, and word came while we were standing out in the hallway and senators were in this meeting that John McCain was suffering from brain cancer. And first of all, people became, concerned for his health, but also realizing that was going to create a big problem to repeal and replace Obamacare. Senator McCain called into that meeting of senators, and they prayed on the phone. And that's something that I think people will remember, that very dramatic moment last summer.
Very moving indeed. Chad Bergrum, you always bring us such wonderful information and remembrances. We appreciate it. More Fox and Friends on the other side.